Good morning, all. Well, this looks very strange. I only see a black screen. I believe this is live. What is happening? This does not look right at all. Let me see if nope, that's not it either. Temporary technical difficulties, you guys. Hold on. Let me go see what this looks like. If this only looks strange for me, or if this looks strange for all of you as well. Oh no, this looks okay. Hello, all. Can you let me know if you can see and hear me okay? Because I have a little bit of worry that you can't. Waking up to technical difficulties. I tried really hard to get this all set up last night. I added all my screenshots into the StreamYard, but I got logged out overnight and it doesn't save them apparently. Live and learn. Oh, thank you, Mad Philosopher Society, for saying, oh, hi, Lisa. Thanks for saying that you could see and hear me well. Phew. Okay. My kingdom for tech support, right? To have somebody else doing the behind the scenes part while I am live. But until that day, hi, welcome. I am Dana Dubois from I Write Out Loud, and this is a red flag roundup. I feel like I need to get a little red flag prop for when I do these. I do not have one yet, so I'll just wave my imaginary red flag. Red flag roundup is something I did once as a joke a few months back, and then found it was actually there's hilarity to it, but there's also a lot of gravitas to these. I am not simply here to pick on men. I am here to offer discourse analysis as I unearth a suitor or two from my online dating inbox. And typically, I pick ones who are not egregious. I pick ones where awful lot of women might say, okay, well, we'll give this guy a chance. And I like to talk about the rhetorical patterns that mean you shouldn't give this guy a chance. For those who are familiar with the burned haystack dating method, I think Jenny Young is brilliant and has done so much good in the world and in my world. She is a professor of rhetoric who invented the burned haystack dating method. She is on Substack. You can also buy her book. It walks through how rhetorical patterns in online dating can let you know if someone is worth pursuing or not. So I am standing on her shoulders as I speak through this and as I date. Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody. Look at all these fine folks joining. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. If I could ask you all to click the red heart. Hold on. Let me practice being a better influencer. Smash that heart. If you could smash that heart, that signals to Substack that this is a live worth watching, that there's a lot of engagement, and tends to bring more milkshakes. My milkshakes bring more boys to the yard. My hearts bring more listeners to the live stream. I don't know if that's funny. It's funny to me. It's only 7 a.m. here in Seattle. This is our typical Daily Whatever Show broadcast time. But now that we are only broadcasting one day a week, I am not accustomed to being up this early. So I'm going to sip my tea. And we are going to get started in just a moment. I have started hosting these red flag roundups as a way to say thank you. So I'm doing them as I hit each decile. So every 10 paid subscribers, I am hosting a red flag roundup, at least through the summer. And every 10 paid subscribers feels almost Herculean these days. I know times are tough. I know that there is a lot of competition for our attention and for our wallets. So I first just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who has supported I Write Out Loud, either as a free subscriber or as a paid subscriber. I am humbled and just so grateful for your support. And I Write Out Loud is my home for creative nonfiction. It is hard for creative nonfiction to get air on Substack these days. I'd uh, I Write Out Loud is a little different in that it's not just straight memoir writing. It is, in my mind, I think of it as memoir that is connecting my lived experience to broader cultural and political topics. So, um, those of you who love storytelling, who perhaps are like me, also in midlife and in mid flight, and still curious, still seeking things from the world, and still feeling like you have another, I was going to say project, but it's more like an accomplishment, a goal, something you're still striving for, and that's getting you out of bed every day. You have not yet arrived. You still feel a sense of curiosity and fire moving through the world. I say, welcome. That's what I Write Out Loud is all about. And I am going to quickly put my subscribe link here in the chat, because if you are someone who would like to support my work and get me to my next decile for my next I Write Out Loud Red Flag Roundup, I would welcome your support as a paid subscriber. I would also welcome your support as a free subscriber. I'm just happy you all are here. Look at this crowd. I see some familiar names. I see some new names. I am thrilled to see you all. Shall we get started? I think we should. So, as I said last night, I put all of my screenshots in StreamYard so that I would be super prepared. And then when I woke up, I had been logged out of StreamYard and all of my screenshots are gone. And I have, um, boy, do I have a suitor for you all. You guys, oh, this one is really good. I'm adding a few more of them in here so they're at the ready for me. And then I'll have to flip through. So I'm going to give a little intro first. First of all, let me ask the chat. Let me come back here. I'm only looking at the chat here on Substack. So if you are on, actually, let me open YouTube. I can contain multitudes. I can look at two chats, but let me start off by asking here. How many of you have been to a red flag roundup before? Because I want to know how much context I should give. Put a 1 in the chat if you have been to one before. Put a 2 in the chat if this is your first one. And I'll pause for a moment and sip my tea while I wait for your reply. Oh, my voice is a little haggard this morning. Claudia, I know you're a 1. Oh, Chris, you're a 2. Okay, Brian, you're a 2. Elisa, you're a 2. Shayla, you're a 1, of course. And Mad Philosopher, 1. Jane, you're a 1. Okay, so we're like a split group. Fabulous. Okay. You all, what do you all drink to wake up in the morning? Because my like gentle but caffeinated, like PG Tips black tea with oat milk. These are my very first sips. So I'm like, these are heaven. If you want to put in the chat what you drink to wake up in the morning, I always like seeing what people's morning beverages are. Because that one is giving me life. Okay. Lynette, it is okay that you did not know this was happening. It is, I struggle between how much to over communicate and to send through email when I'm going live versus how much to not overload my subscribers. Because I do send a lot of mail. So chai with cashew milk. Oh, that sounds so good, Chris. Yum. Okay. Cappuccino, always a classic. All right. So red flag roundup. We're going to jump in here and I will say, this is where I open up my online dating inbox and I share suitors, or in the case of today, a suitor with you. And I walk through step by step why this person has ruled himself out as a suitor. And it is in part for levity, because if I have to sort through all of this, I need company, because it can be a miserable slog. It is just, some of this is for a good time and I'm poking some fun, especially today. I will say that. But mostly I am doing this um, because I've had friends, especially women friends who are longtime partnered, who I will show an example of something that to me is egregious. And they'll be like, oh, so you're going to meet that guy? And I'm like, no. Like I wouldn't, yeah, no, this is a man who has clearly shown himself to not be someone who any woman looking for a long-term relationship should meet. Like, no. So for women out there like me who are seeking a romantic partner and not a hookup, this is my guidance. And it, as I said earlier, a lot of this is standing on the shoulders of the burnt haystack dating method. If you, in fact, I'm going to go get that link and put it in the chat as well, because Jenny Young is like a personal hero of mine. I just think her work has had is doing immeasurable good in the world. If you are familiar with it, you will recognize some of the terms I'm using today, some of the rhetorical patterns that she names. And yeah, I'm hoping this will be both humorous and educational. And let me just say again, very humorous in this case. So I have violated a big, and it is great advice for men on how not to behave. That's true. Don't use this to manipulate women, men. But if you are a man who is honestly seeking partnership, this should be some good tips for you. And please excuse my heteronormativity here, but this is my lived experience. So I acknowledge that, not everyone is seeking a monogamous heterosexual partner. I am. So with all of that acknowledged, I also want to give one more caveat, which is I typically, yes, there are so many narcissists on dating apps. You were so right, Elisa, including this man we're going to meet today. So I typically pick far more nuanced, um, like walking the line of okay examples to highlight. Um, the burned haystack dating method says if a man demonstrates any of these rhetorical patterns, but specifically some of the big ones, you do not give them a chance. You protect your time and your bandwidth and your heart, and you simply you don't just swipe left by her method. You're supposed to block them in the apps. So because the apps will recycle men if you just swipe left, which is no means no app. So if you say no, they should honor the no. But unless you block them, sometimes they can come back. So her kind of tagline is block to burn. So you block them on the apps and you never have to see them again. Poof. I did something that Jenny would not approve of. I am playing with my food, so to speak here. And I did it in part because I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to see what this guy is going to do because he will make a great red flag roundup one day. I have been waiting to hit which I should say, because this is a number I still can't believe, 220 was the number that I hit a few days ago. I know it. I love this number, 222. I like even numbers. So paid subscribers. My immense eternal gratitude to all of you. And yeah, we're gonna launch into our suitor. So when I rejoined dating apps, which I did recently, I find that like things have changed, and it hadn't been that long. It had only been a few months, so things hadn't changed as dramatically as when I've taken like years long breaks. But there's generally like a theme, a vibe, and my vibe this go around is recidivism. Like I feel like I've already met everyone in Seattle because so many of the men who I saw and matched with are men I've seen or matched with before. And it makes sense. It hadn't been that long. And also, like, I am an odd duck, and I am attracted to odd ducks. And so some of the same people, either I would be like, yeah, I recognize that guy. And sometimes it was like, oh yeah, I recognize him, and I didn't get to talk to him last time. Okay. And other times there was like an eye roll of like, oh God, that guy again. Block or swipe left. Um, but the gentleman we're going to be speaking about today, I've actually done a red flag roundup before, months ago, because he outwardly looks like someone I should date. He's quirky and tall and skinny and kind of cute and has an interesting job and hobbies from his profile. So that's all great. But this is what happened the last time I encountered him. We started messaging, hitting it off, and went and here, I'm going to move this a little so I don't put my daughter on camera. I'll come in very tight on the camera here. Actually, hold on just 1 second. My daughter was leaving for work, so I wanted to say goodbye. So, so this man, uh, months ago, we were chatting on the apps, we were hitting it off, and we agreed let's move and we can text one another. I have a burner phone number, a Google Voice number that I use with people I don't know, strangers from the internet. And so um, actually, he gave, wait, hold on a minute here. He gave me his number. So from my Google Voice account, I messaged, and I typically will say, like, hi, it's Dana. And in this case, I just didn't. I just said, hello, so and so. And he replied back and said, Emily or Dana? And I was like, okay, congratulations. You just disqualified yourself. Not that I think, man, people on the apps aren't messaging with multiple people. Obviously, we are. We had literally just connected, but like poor judgment. Like it was so. And then when I didn't respond, he backpedaled and was like, "Oh, I don't know why I said that. This is Dana, obviously. Hi, Dana." Da, 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 da. And I was like, "Oh God, dude, don't even try to make this up." And so it's actually one of the most viral things I've ever posted on Substack. Was I posted a clip of that of me reading his Emily or Dana, and I forget how many tens of thousands of views it got, but it went pretty viral. So that was this gentleman, and here I see him again. I'm going to come back to the live and see. Yeah, ouch, total, total, like, ew. Just it's disrespectful, right? Like it just shows he had poor judgment. At this point, I'm going to pause because I'm realizing I know his real name and I don't want to say it, but I need a name as I'm talking about him. So I'm going to ask you, the audience, to come up with a 2-syllable name ending in ER. Put some in the chat and I will pick one because I need a name so that we can talk. So I don't have to just say the dude or whatever. I am, if you all don't say one, I will come up with one, but I think it'll be more fun if you name him and don't say like loser or Roger, Turner, Roger, Franklin. Oh, a couple Rogers, Peter. Look at all these Rogers. Dexter. These are all great names. The Rogers have it. That's 3 in a row. Oh, Hunter. I like Hunter Biden too much these days to name this poor guy, to name this idiot after Hunter. So we're going to go with Roger because I think Roger is kind of a silly name, anyways. Mm. So, Roger, I see Roger. I think it was on Tinder. Tinder provides the worst of the worst, which I shouldn't be surprised by. Oh, and for those of you who haven't met Kira or who would like to see her, she got groomed yesterday, so she's looking especially cute. Hi, baby. So what happened here is that when I got out of bed, she hopped into bed with my child, and then the child just left. So she is now ready for her treat. Okay. Hopefully she leaves this alone. Tinder is the absolute dregs. Oh my God. I have a friend who met her husband on Tinder. And so I was like, I'm going to try it. I'm sure it's not as bad as it used to be. It's probably not a hookup app. And so, oh no, it's bad. The very first person who messaged, like I did it impulsively before going to bed and then woke up in the morning to my first message, which just said, "You are hot as fuck." That was all it said. And I was like, ew, you guys, no. And also, like, would that all of these men shooting their shots in the most ridiculous ways were actually hot enough to make it amusing, but none of them are. They're so confident. Anyhow, we're going to talk about Roger now. Let me come over here to StreamYard because this is what we do. I'm going to scoot the window closer to the live. Okay. I have 11 screenshots here. Okay, it looks like it's popping up on the stage, but let me check here and make sure you all can see it. Um, Sammy says, Dana, why didn't you answer Emily and mess with him? Sammy, it's because I was being a literal burned haystacker. I was like, you block to burn. They do something dumb and you're done. But I did not play with my food because it's not nice. But sometimes we must amuse ourselves, right? And yes, you're right. So I did play with them here, though, Sammy, and I think you will be delighted by what's here. Okay. So, and we should keep track of some of the timestamps on this will be interesting as we go. Oh my gosh, Jason and Jess Odell, the siblings meeting on my live stream and saying hi. That makes me happy. Okay. Oh, Alyssa, Roger's such an idiot, but you have to just wait. You're gonna love this. So Roger leads with, hi, Dana, you have wonderful taste in eyeglasses. I do have wonderful taste in eyeglasses. This is a lovely first introductory line. I'm not wild about ones that are commenting on my looks. Any hey beautiful, hey gorgeous, and I delete. But things or like, you know, I get on Tinder a lot of just like eyeball-y heart emojis or kissy faces. Like anyone leading with one emoji is like, no. Sammy, it's Emily. I'm just sitting here with my voodoo dolls. That would have been hilarious. Um, so wonderful taste in eyeglasses, or you have a beautiful smile. I get that a lot. And those are really nice compliments. So I just say, Roger, we meet again. Because I'm just going to call it out at the beginning that I already know him. Did we meet before? And this was months ago, to be fair. I like to think I'm pretty distinctive looking, but I've had men say to me like, "Oh yeah, we've spoken before," and I'm like, I feel like that episode on Sex and the City when Samantha is like mid fucking some guy and he's like, or maybe right after, and he's like, "Well, yeah, we've hooked up before," and she's like, "Oh my god, I have to leave New York City because I've already slept with every man here." That's I feel like sometimes I've met every man on the apps, but he says, "Did we meet before?" And I say, "Oh yes, it was one of the most hilarious online dating ever." I probably still have a screenshot somewhere. Um, Sometimes my dog needs more than one. Here we go. Here we go. Um, so, how so? Please expound. And I'm like, there is part of me that's like, is this guy going to let me, let me say things like that and keep going, or is he just going to run off? And to his credit, he did not run off because there is a very small part of me that's an optimist in this conversation and is like, wouldn't it be great if he ended up being a good guy? Because yeah, my bar was sort of a um, like like recent heartache. It would be nice to have a cute guy buy me a bourbon, and just that was my bar. However, mostly I was playing with my food because I recognized that this is not a viable suitor, even at a very low bar. And Jane, yes, my dog has trained me very well. I recognize I should not keep giving her these treats. And also, I'm hoping Nature Naz sponsors my podcast. I'm kidding, but not kidding. I don't have the bag here today. I usually make a joke about showing it. It keeps her quiet and happy. And now that I've done this, if I don't, she'll bug us the whole show. So, how so? Please expound. Roger wants to know how we have met before and why he was one of the worst fails of all time, which way to go, Roger. So, oh no, hold on a second. I was worried about this. It appears I'm missing one screen, but well, now I'm bummed because I was very careful about numbering these last night. Let me just do a quick check here. Oh, do. Okay, I don't think I have. Okay, so we're missing one screen, but in that screen, I explained to him what happened with the Emily or Dana. I don't have whatever excuse he came up with here, but I say, I hope things went better with Emily than they did with me, with a laughing face. I think I'm being very funny throughout this exchange. You all can let me know if I'm being obnoxious or not funny or whatever. And he says, oh, of course they did. Emily and I, whomever that is, are currently engaged and will be happily married soon. Okay, that's amusing. So I play along. You two registered anywhere. Can I get you a nice blender or something? He's so this is someone who is very into I seem to remember like mid-century modern antiques and like someone who had a sense of style, which I liked. So registered at Louis Vuitton only. And while I do not believe they have any blenders in stock, you can get us a nice set of luggage for at least $10,000. Thank you in advance for your generosity. Again, that's funny, right? I think so far, hey, no, ma'am. We're going to say no this time. Let's see if it works. So far in this exchange, I think that this is rather funny. I have no problem with this. Not going to lie, mid-century modern is my favorite. I know, mine too. And straight Gen X aged men who are into mid-century modern furniture, like that was a red flag. So giving Roger a chance here, but okay. So registered at Louis Vuitton only. Thank you in advance for your generosity. And then I just have to be like, you really don't remember this happening. And he does not. And here he's outwardly at the beginning, I'm like, okay, he's being a bit humble. I can imagine that I mistakenly sent you a message which was intended for some woman named Emily, squarely putting my foot in my mouth. I explain here what happened, obviously. And then he says, I am so sorry for being an asshole and an idiot. Will you forgive me? So in the burn taste tag dating method, one of the big rhetorical patterns that she talks about is called the test and apologize. And this is one, this might be the most common one I see within my like men I would consider. And what it generally looks like is men, and again, heteronormative, and it's my lived experience. So if there are men out there who have experienced this from women, I'm not saying it doesn't happen in that direction. Simply speaking to my experience. So men who will say things like very sexual innuendo sorts of things, and when they don't get the response they want, they apologize. Right. An example is one time I had a guy say like, "Oh, that's your dress in that photo is beautiful. I bet it would look really great on my floor." And when I didn't respond, it was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. You're just so hot. It makes my imagination wander." Something like that. Like what Jenny says, and I 100% co-sign, is the test is always real. The apology never is. They are looking to see if they can get away with pushing sexual boundaries with you. And typically, the sort of man you would want to be in a long-term monogamous partnership with is not going to do that before he's even met you. In fact, the burnt haystack dating method is if they say or do anything sexual at all, or even like focus on your looks too much in initial conversations, you just block them and move on because that's not what you're looking for. I will give a little grace for people commenting on looks sometimes, but if they get or like a flirtation that dabbles on that line, but if it's something overt, for sure, I'm just like, nope, nope, because you know, most men on dating apps are not ready to be in a relationship. It's not what they're looking for. So might as well move through them quickly, right? But here I am letting him apologize. Like I had already, blocked him before, and here we are reconnecting again. So I will you forgive me rather than I'm so embarrassed. Excellent eye. Alyssa, and we're going to come back to, you're going to see how it continues from here. But at this point, I'm like, okay, will you forgive me? I say, I was like, okay, well, again, I know I'm playing with my food here. I know that this guy, like the Emily or Dana thing was pretty egregious. The odds that he's going to rebound from that are slim to none. So we move on to the, okay, move on to the next screen. I replied, Emily or Dana, I just looked in my phone for someone named Dana and did not find you. I, I'm sure he never saved me to his phone. We had like one exchange and then I disappeared. And no Emily. So he has no recollection of this at all, is what he's establishing. And he says, okay, I think we've established that I am a moron, which I'm happy to admit. And I'm like, okay, he's humbling himself. Sure. And then the conversation continues, and I say, and we've established it was a grievous enough error is what that's supposed to say, that I blocked you and moved on, and yet here we both are. So I'm queuing it up. Yep, here we are. Where do we go from here? Am I still blocked? Do I get a chance to text the scorned woman? So the scorned woman, he's putting a little bit of that on me, the scorned woman, but it's still a little funny to me at this point. I am Gen X. I do like a bit of a dark sense of humor. My tea kettle, oh, there it goes. It stopped. Sometimes it beeps like that. Hopefully you all couldn't hear that. Then he says, I am a feminist too, if that means that we all recognize that most women are clearly usually better than the majority of men. Question mark. That statement, out of the context of everything else, I'm like, that's funny to me. I like that statement. But I do want you to remember and come back to the I am a feminist part later in this conversation, because to me it becomes very funny. So, and I say I'm all about a good redemption arc because I am. I am about a good redemption arc, both as a writer and as a lived experience human. But yeah, Sammy, you're saying sucking up. That will become quite clear soon that there is a kind of apology that is, the word obsequious is coming to mind. I'm not sure that's exactly the right word, but it's so over the top that it's you took the word out of my mouth. It's disingenuous. Thank you, mad philosopher. Great minds. But yes, there is, I'm sure you all have heard this before. It was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Will you ever forgive me? I'm such a horrible person. Oh my God, oh my God. And in over the top apologizing, it's negating the apology. There's no rhetorical pattern for that, but that is, that happens. Oh my God, Alyssa, this should get printed on a t-shirt. Elisa, no man who is actually a feminist announces it. That is pure manipulation from a guy who wants to seem smarter than he is, and more of an ally than he is. Yeah, it's one of those like, people who state on their profiles like I'm very smart or I'm very funny. It's like, nope, smart or funny people don't need to tell you that they're smart or funny. They simply write clever things. They write funny things. Don't tell me that you're funny. Like show, don't tell. Classic, classic writer advice. So he's telling me he's a feminist though, and I'm not mad about that. So I say I'm all about a good redemption arc, and he replies, happy to hear that. I will happily allow you to redeem yourself. So this is, well, it's negging. You're going to see a lot of negging going forward. I don't think that's an actual rhetorical pattern, but in the burned haystack dating methodology, but it is, I would call this weaponized sarcasm. And this is a thing that especially Gen X men hold like multiple degrees in sometimes, right? The ones who in their profiles will say like I'm fluent in sarcasm, which that's an automatic block for me. Like both because it's played out and because sarcasm is good as a little bit of seasoning, but it is not tasty as a meal. Nobody wants sarcasm is just cruel. So, but I will allow it once and think it's funny. I will happily allow you to redeem yourself. Ha ha ha. Aren't you hilarious? You know what it feels like as I'm reading this back? I'm an oldest child. I have a younger brother who I love dearly. You know, we've both been adults now for many decades, but this feels very like younger sibling vibe, right? That's what negging kind of feels like to me, of like the little kid brother being like, I know you are, but what am I? I'll happily allow you to redeem yourself. That's how I hear it. So he thinks though he's being very funny, right? Roger is thinks he's hilarious. I will happily allow you to redeem yourself. And then hold on, how much later is this? So that's it. He says, I will happily allow you to redeem yourself at 2:48 p.m. I don't respond. And so then this is a test and apologize right here. I'm just kidding, of course. It's not even an apology, but it's a form of an apology. It's 5 hours later. I have stopped responding because what he wrote was annoying, or I was busy, I don't know, doing things, but it was intentional probably if I went for that long. So I respond back in kind, of course you are. I can play Gen X. I'm fluent in sarcasm with the best of them. So then he asks, do you want to have coffee sometime, Emily? This is also negging. To my brain, this is very funny. It probably shouldn't be. That's probably not healthy. But I think that that is kind of hilarious that he is pulling back the old joke that he has hyper apologized for already, and said, do I want to have coffee, Emily? And I am always pleased when someone moves the conversation from chit chat to like, let's meet and have a coffee. And again, frame of mind. At this point, I am like, I'm a bit sad from a relationship that ended, and I would like to sit across from a man I find reasonably attractive and clever and have a coffee. That's the bar. So I'm like, oh, that's nice. Um, and so I respond, I can't decide if you're hilarious or insufferable, because this is like watching a bad Eugene Levy skit. Kind of is, right? Okay. So I can't decide if you're hilarious or insufferable. And he snaps right back, both. And I'm like, it is too bad that this guy is the way he is, because his mind is sharp. I can tell that this is someone who is bright. I can also tell this is someone who is dark. And I'm using those two words very differently. He's smart and clever, but he also is, this is an unhappy, like not in good working order person. Mm. So, and hi, Lynette. Hello, Amy. Two of my very regulars, and I write out loud for Sunday Salon. I am happy to see you both here. Oh, hi, Laura. Laura LeBleu from Geezer Magazine. Welcome. You had said you might wake up early for this, and I'm glad you're here. You're getting in for the good part. And yes, Chris, this is beginning to feel passive aggressive. 100%. You have to know Seattle is known for passive aggressive. This is like our vibe out here, is that before all the tech bros moved in, the whole thing up here was like non-confrontational, passive aggressive people, for better or for worse. It's just the way it is. So this very much demonstrating this. So then he says, insufferable, how very dare you, as the English would say. And I say, oh boy. So like, okay, he's being sort of funny, I guess. Hold on, I'm gonna add a few more image files here. And oh, I need to remove a few because you're only allowed 10 at a time. So let me remove the first two, get these all queued up. This is the magic behind the scenes, you guys. As I said, one day, when I Write Out Loud Enterprises makes me a media creator mogul, I will have a team of people doing this so that I can focus on the delivery and not the behind the scenes stuff. But we are very far from that right now. Thirsty for attention. Yes, Stuart, this is a very thirsty for attention person. So I'm going to move to the next screen. He says, "Can't you tell, comma, unnecessary comma, that I am the wittiest person you have ever met?" And I say, "You certainly make for a good punchline." You all, I must amuse myself. So please admire me on I think this was a Saturday by then. Hold on. This is the 26th was a Friday. So this is Friday night, I think. So you certainly make for a good punchline. So I am digging in here pretty hard. If I thought this was a viable person, I would not be this sharp. This is me also being fluent in sarcasm. You certainly make for a good punchline. I think that's supposed to be, if you cannot recognize my charms, then it is fine not to meet your loss. Um, Audience, what's he doing here? 'Cause I think you all should recognize what this is. Thank you for saying you love my show, Sue. I love you being here for my show. I'm very grateful that you are here. Um, this is so painful. Yes, it is. It is. Okay. So this is a form of negging also, and this is very passive aggressive. If you cannot recognize my charms, then it is fine not to meet your loss. So uh this man is like, again, I am playing with my food. Normally I would have swiped left a long time ago. I'm here for the plot, as the kids would say. I'm here for the plot. So I say, if I didn't see the charm, I wouldn't keep responding. And he says, "Oh, thank you so much. How privileged am I?" He cannot take a de escalation for what it is. He has to keep going. To be fair, I am escalating this as well, right? Like, I'm not being kind to him, but Amy, at least he's not jerking off in the bathroom. That was the last red flag roundup, you guys. That was on Sunday Salon, behind the paywall. That was a very fun. I think that one was right. That was on Sunday Salon. That was a very fun one, and it was right at the same time that this was happening. So my reimmersion into online dating those first few weeks was painful. It's improved a bit, but this is. Oh my gosh, I love this quote, Mad Philosopher Society. A man attaches himself to a woman not to enjoy her, but to enjoy himself. Oof. Oof. Okay. So thank you so much. How privileged am I? Again, I this is at 12:45. This is now in the wee hours. Again, I don't usually write to legitimate suitors this late like this either. But I don't reply. And he comes back the next afternoon. Okay, as you can tell, I am being somewhat sarcastic. So this is sort of a test and apologize again, except he doesn't apologize. He doubles down on this faux arrogance that he thinks is very funny and charming, but that is old. Like, it was funny the first time. And then since then, it's a complete eye roll. I just think that I am the bee's knees and that you should be absolutely desperate to have coffee with me. Like, doubles down like MAGA. Yeah. This is absolutely a very silly escalation. Like, he's clearly being very tongue in cheek, very sarcastic, fluent in sarcasm. But so stay with me though, because this part isn't so egregious. It's what this tends to lead to that you're about to see why we block to burn. Because he says here, um, okay, as you can tell, I'm being somewhat sarcastic. I don't want to miss that. As you can tell, this is a bit of a disciplinary directive, which is um, the most egregious of the burned haystack dating method rhetorical patterns. She says this is no matter what the context. If he's telling you what to do, that is a sign of abuse. Even if what he's telling you to do is not that big a deal. Someone in a profile who is like, um, just says like, call me, or I don't know. My mind is having it. But if they tell you what to do, run. And this is a little bit of that, as you can tell. He's making assumptions. that I come back with, can I tell that? And then he says, I would hope so. You are a tough nut to crack. So, you are a tough nut to crack is both a retreat, a kind of an admission that he is interested and is finding this a little frustrating in my mind. It is also an interesting turn of phrase because while I recognize tough nut to crack is just an intellectual exercise, it is also like, um, oh, you're trying to crack, you're trying to break me, you're trying to break me open. The language is there, even as I recognize that that's being a bit hyperbolic. It's there. So I am a tough nut to crack, which I'm not. I am very much looking for men to date, Roger. And as I said, the bar was a bit lower. I am looking for a man to buy me a coffee or a bourbon and sit across from me and be cute and charming to lift my spirits. And you can't even meet this bar. Then he says, please forgive me. I am not accustomed to women not falling all over me, all and fawning over me. And I've clearly hearted the wrong compliment here or comment here. But he's doing that same hackneyed over the top, like, I'm so amazing. Why don't you see how amazing I am? That by the end of all of this, I think he's kind of a little in earnest about, even though he's clearly being tongue in cheek. But also the subtext is like, it's a pretty insecure person who has to do this, who can't just come forward and speak on his own merits. So this is someone who would be exhausting to know in person, I think. At least for me. I could not with that. Okay. So did I mention that I think you have wonderful taste slash style? That's where the heart was supposed to go. Because that is a very lovely compliment, especially coming from was a very stylish, well, like foppish looking man, which totally my type. Um, and I come back and answer like him because again, I'm playing with my food. I really do, don't I? With a winky face. And then I say, and no, you hadn't mentioned compliment graciously accepted. I've put down my swords and like, thank you. That is a nice compliment. It is a little bit of a de-escalation on my part, right? And he says, yes, you do. And I have to remove from stage over here before we move to the next one. And I'm not sure if it's the next screen or the one after where things start going off the rails. So I'm going to come over here and I just want to see what's come in here. Since I looked here, I see he is out of his league. Thank you. I mean, so arrogant. Ugh, yes, Brian, it's so arrogant. He doesn't ask any questions about you. No, at least he does not. He just keeps telling me how wonderful he is. Um, he is out of the league and thinks he is in it, giving directions like he's an authority. Yes. Exhausting is the proper word. I agree. And he is egocentric, a personal failing. I don't like egocentric. Yeah, he actually no. You're right. He's just an ego. He's very egocentric. Okay, so let's come back to StreamYard because I'm trying to remember when things start really falling apart. I think it might be this next screen. Okay, wait. Oh, okay. So compliment graciously accepted. So he has complimented my style. He has not made any comments about my physicality, like the way I look. He's just complimented my glasses and my style. So now we're going to move into this next one. Yes, you do. And he says, if we ever meet, will you promise to wear your purse strap across your chest? I always wear a crossbody bag. And in one of the photos, I'm wearing a bag. Sorry to be fresh. Just very old fashioned language. Not normally a boob guy, but your purse strap just kind of did it for me. So he sent that message so it's 7:37 p.m. So I do, yes, you do. So here we've crossed the line into talking about my boobs, which as you all know, I'm not shy about. I've got great boobs. What are you going to do? And yes, they tend to be attention grabbing. I'm trying to, oh, so will you promise to do this? Sorry to be fresh. test and apologize. There it is again. He's testing and he's apologizing and he's giving the reason. Your purse strap just kind of did it for me. It's this whole like, sorry to go over the line. I couldn't help myself because something you did made me say something really inappropriate. Do you hear that that's what he's done here? He hasn't just made things sexual, he's blamed me for having the audacity to carry a bag, a crossbody bag. It's my fault that he could not help himself but blurt out some two inappropriate things. The purse strap across your chest, he's keeping it a little neutral by saying chest, though not really, but a little. And then he's saying, oh, not normally a boob guy, but the purse strap did it for me. So he's also letting me know that while I have great boobs, he's not really so into that. Do you hear how double-sided, how like the nuance of like the depths and levels of egregiousness here? I'm gonna come over here to the chat and see what you're saying before we keep going. A whole bunch of vomiting. Thank you, Miss Hughes. Blames you for making him a dick. Exactly. Instant block. I'm playing with my food, so I have not blocked it. How old young is this guy? 59. He's 59 years old, you guys. This is not a child. This is a he wants so badly to be Willy Wonka. Oh my God, Mad Philosopher, you're going to need to explain that comment because I don't quite see it, but I want to know what you mean because I'm sure you have a very funny tie in there. No, I will keep my purse strap free to strangle you. That's a very good answer. Um, I will wear my purse strap over your mouth so you cannot say the stupid shit. These are great answers. See, he is objectifying your body like he is scanning a Playboy magazine. Dude needs yeeted into the sea. Oh, I yeeted him into the sea. I did the worst thing I could do to this guy in the end. Well, I don't want to give away the punchline. I'll do just a little. Ignoring him was the worst punishment after this. I wear a crossbody bag, crossbody purse too. May never think about it in the same way again. Geez, right? Like, but we women can't carry a bag, and I'm not wearing a like crazy, like super revealing thing. I'm just wearing a bag. I should go find the photo, but I don't need to. Manipulative, yes. Um, Michael, I don't know what this is, but please keep it out of the chat. He is abusive. Not normally a boob guy is already trying to make you insecure. Exactly. He is paying me a compliment by having to blurt out this inappropriate, fresh comment because he can't help himself because of what I got here. And also, he's letting me know I'm not really that into it. But this part, sorry to be a man, sorry, comma, to be a man, that is beautiful writing. Like that, I know I'm maybe giving him too much credit, but he is clever and sorry, comma, to be a man. There should be t-shirts that just say that because that's very funny. And so I say, that's probably the funniest thing you've typed in this entire exchange. And I'm not surprised. My rack is impressive. I'm just smarting enough back to him because I'm like, dude, I'm lobbing it over the net. Bring it home. Let's see what you've got. That's also rapey language. It absolutely is. I can't help myself is starting to move into that really icky territory because what else can he not help himself with once he sees me, right? Or any woman. Ugh. I'm so grateful for dicks like this for making men like me shine in the sun. Oh my gosh. It's true. I mean, there's been many essays written about like men get, I think you're exceptional, so I'm not calling you this, but men can be very, very mediocre and still like look like rock stars because of that. The left-handed compliments trying to proclaim himself an eccentric, thinks he's the star of the show. Uh, as if being a man gives him permission to be a rapist. Yeah, oof. Like he is grooming Dana creepily. Yes, this is all very creepy. I shoot back with my typical, yeah, I know, my rack is very impressive. And here's where things really devolve. You ready, guys? Okay. But you did not answer my question. Will you wear a purse for me? or, comma, allow me to fondle. At the word fondle, he's lost me. Now we're over the line and I stop responding. This isn't funny anymore. And then test and apologize again, you guys. I am kidding, parentheses, about the fondling. The word fondle is so gross. Can we all agree that that word just sounds lecherous or maybe fondle? Like, I can't think of any context in which I would want a man to say, I would like to fondle you. Ew, ew, ew. I mean, I get that it's a little old timey, but ew, yeah, toxic. Yes, ew, 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 ew. Yeah, all the women are ewing and blocking and no, done, done, done. Welcome, Christopher. I see you just joined. You're at the very end of the red flag roundup where my suitor Roger is just burying himself. So he says this is a Saturday night at 8:30 at night, and you need another shower. Me too. And then he comes back. Okay, I still kind of want to fondle. I have not responded to him, and he's like still shooting the shot here. He still thinks that I am engaged. Okay, still want to fondle. And then we have our final screen here because this chat, by the way, is still open. It's now been a few weeks, so I don't think he'll say anything else. But I'm like, I want to see if he's going to come back in and say anything more beyond I still kind of want to fondle. And here's where we end. This is what he goes to. So hold on, timestamp it. So he said that at 8:30. At 9 o'clock, he says, okay, I still want to fondle. And then he comes in at 11:10 p.m. on a Saturday night and says this. I'm going to read this in my seductive voice, okay? About 6 months ago, not seductive, silly. I met a girl on here, Tinder, had never met her. She was an engineer at Boeing, said she was leaving the next day to go to Oregon. I asked her in jest if she wanted me to come and kiss her goodbye. She said she did. So I went down the next morning, and in the parking lot I made out with her. I kissed her very passionately. I groped her ass and breasts, and she Substack might kick me off if I say this. I put her hands on my cock and it made me hard, etc. I never heard from her again. It was absolutely nuts, but yet kind of exciting and fun. Like, sir, calm down. I nearly, if I had responded to him, I was just going to send him my Venmo and be like, if I'm going to do sex work, you need to pay me because he is triangulating with the other woman as he did with Emily, textbook malignant narcissist. Oh, right. Sir, this is a Wendy's. Right. Go fondle anthrax, sir. Oh my God. Oh, um, right. You could probably make a fortune if you just replied back and told him he bombed, but for $300, you'll send him a complete report to help him not be so creepy with the next woman. I would never do that to womankind, but yes. This is a guy getting himself off at night, texting this to me, right? It's so gross. It's so vile. And then the next day, the next morning, I did not intend to offend, just telling you a funny story. Is there anything funny about that story to any of you? In any context, is that a funny story? Objectively speaking, the only thing funny about this is the punctuation because it's quite poor, but I assume he's texting with one hand while he's, with the other. So he probably read that letter in Penthouse Letters and is recycling it, right? It does sound like a fantasy. Who knows if this is true or not? I do not care. And then he says a few hours later, I guess I offended. Sorry. So he's finally actually apologized in his text and apologized. Like, I guess I offended, question mark. How could that not be offensive? Like, what woman who on the internet wants to hear this from a dude? I'm speechless. Like, I guess I offended. He is not apologizing. He's trying to bait you back in. Of course, the test and apologize. But this was This test was like next level. So the moral of the story is if you play with your food and you let the ones with the lightly egregious behavior proceed, then you get to really see who they are. And this guy is treating just women on Tinder like sex workers. Not that there's anything wrong with sex work, but he was not paying me to get off by sharing this story that I did not want to hear. Now all of you have heard. So obviously this is different from some of my other red flag roundups where I share men who say more subtly not great things and why you shouldn't reply. This one, this one was just too good not to let him keep going and not to share. I was literally like, come on, I need to get enough paid subscribers to do another red flag roundup. I have to share Roger here because this one is like one for the record books. My friend, right after this happened, I met my dear friend Jennifer. She's like my karaoke friend. So we met at our little Chinese food dive bar slash karaoke joint. And I told her about this guy and the last one who ended up probably, yeah, jerking off in the bathroom. I don't, he sent a photo that was not a full on dick pic, but it was not great. So I was showing these to her and she was like, she does like indie theater here. And she was like, will you send me these screenshots? Because I think I want to work these into a script. So she has them. We'll see if they end up getting worked into a script at all. Um, he is definitely on that Rape Academy site. Oh God, I hope not. But yeah, he is getting off writing his fantasies with someone reading it. He is best directed to a 900 number service. Yes. I quite literally nearly wrote back with my Venmo, but I was like, no, I'm not engaging with him anymore. I am not, yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's not funny. But um, ladies and gentlemen, this is what my dating pool looks like. Thankfully, they're not all quite like this, but they do make for excellent, excellent red flag roundups because I thought Roger was just the bee's knees, Roger. You are the bee's knees, as you stated earlier. Thank you all for coming. I will host a red flag roundup at least through the summer. Every time I hit a new decile, I hit 10 more paid subscribers. I am 8 away from my next one, and I am going to put my subscribe link here in the chat. There is no pressure. I would absolutely love you to all be here as a free subscriber so that you find out when I'm hosting lives like this. You can read my writing, which is nowhere near the quality of Roger's writing here. I kid. Every Monday, I come with a new essay on I Write Out Loud. It is creative nonfiction that speaks to larger cultural and political issues that we women moving through midlife and men moving through midlife may encounter. So if you found this relatable, I would welcome your support as a free or paid subscriber. I will hopefully be back with another red flag roundup soon. I have a whole folder on my phone full of screenshots. None as good as Rogers, though. This might be one for the ages. Darvid, I'm sorry you missed the meat of it, but I will post the live very soon. Thank you all. Lawrence is live right now. If you go pop over, in fact, I interrupted. I'm going over his a little bit, but go follow Lawrence Winterman, and he's talking on far more serious topics than this. But this was so fun. So thank you all for being here. I love you, mean it. I will be doing my I Write Out Loud. Sorry about my essay this week, which is about Botox. It's about beauty standards and the things that we women do. Kind of a nuanced take on why we can both resent and appreciate partaking in beauty standards and things like that. There is the link to it, but I'm either going to be live Wednesday or Thursday at 5 o'clock. I need to go schedule it. My kids might be in the house Wednesday, so I might do it Thursday, but I will post it today. You will see the calendar event go up, and I will post it as a note. So would love to have you all at that live as well. I would love to have you read my essay and restack it. I love you, mean it. Bye all. Oh, wait, I have to end it in StreamYard, not just close the window. Bye.